Hello. I haven't done a book tag since the start of the year, I think. So today I thought it would be a fun idea to do the 10-year challenge book tag. I only found this challenge book tag recently, and by recently I mean yesterday, and I thought it was a really fun idea. It's talking about the books that we've read in the past 10 years because everyone seems to be freaking out about the fact that next year is a new decade. I do this thing where I don't like to think about things that freak me out, so I didn't realize this until quite recently. Anyway, I don't think I was tagged by anyone, so I will just leave the original creator down in the description bar below so you can go check that out. But yeah, let's just get into the questions. Question number 1, what was your favorite book in 2009? So I tried thinking really hard about this question because I don't remember too much of my high school years. I don't remember reading too much during high school or middle school, whatever you want to call it, because I read a lot when I was younger, when I was like, you know, primary school, a kid age, and then I stopped reading for a couple of years during high school, and then I picked it back up when I finished high school, when I graduated, and that was when I picked up The Hunger Games. So I picked up The Hunger Games around 2010, 2011. So I specifically remember reading the Harry Potter books quite later on in my life. I read them when I was in year 7, so I would have been around 12 or 13. And then I remember in year 8, the only books I remember reading were the books that I had to read for English class. So we read Tomorrow When the War Began and then a lot of Melina Marchetta books. But that was like 2006, I guess. So 2009, I would have been around 15 or 16. So I think if I can, you know, estimate, I think I might have picked up the Twilight book around that time. I don't specifically remember when it was, if it was 2008 or 2009, but I'm just gonna go with Twilight. Question number 2, what is your favorite book of 2019? I'm not gonna lie to you, this hasn't been the best reading year because I don't remember any books that I read this year. Question 3, what is your least favorite book of 2009? Again, I don't remember. I remember picking up a lot of the like wannabe Twilight books during that time, and then I just remember reading a lot of like werewolf books and fairy books and zombie books. Question is, what is your least favorite book in 2019? I read a romance book called, it's like a new adult romance, it's called Faking It. I don't remember the author's name because I got rid of the book, but that book follows the trope of fake dating, and it follows this bad girl and good guy, and she is the main character of this story, and her parents, like she's living a double life. So she goes off to university and she kind of has her own life there. It's the kind of life that her parents wouldn't really approve of, so she hides it from her parents. One day her parents decide to surprise visit her, and so she has this like boyfriend who has tattoos and piercings, and apparently that means no in her world. I don't know why. There's nothing wrong with tattoos or piercings. Doesn't, you know, say anything about a person's character, but hey. Anyway, so she decides to tell her boyfriend to hide, and then she sees this other guy that seems really like clean cut and whatever at the coffee shop, and she's like, hey, pretend to be my boyfriend because that is normal. And then they do this fake dating thing, and then they eventually obviously get together or something. I don't remember too much about the ending, but I just didn't like it because I've noticed since I've read a lot of romance this year that I am very particular with my romances. It's not so much the explicitness that I mind, because I don't really mind that. It's the way it's written. So like, for example, in this book there would be like certain lines that just irked me because it's almost like the author forcing us to feel for these characters without showing. It's that problem of like telling and not showing, I think. I can't really give specific examples without spoiling anything, but yeah, I just didn't really like this one. Moving on, what is a book published in 2009 that you still want to read? Okay, so I went to a list on Goodreads about top books of 2009 because I don't remember every book that was published in 2009, believe it or not. And the only thing that stood out to me was a Libba Bray book, Going Bovine. Question number 6, what is a book published in 2019 you still want to get to before 2020? So to be completely honest, there's only 2 weeks left of this year, and I'm probably not going to read anything in the last 2 weeks, or I'm not going to finish anything within these last 2 weeks. But there is a new release that came out this year that I've been dying to get to, so hopefully I pick it up in January of 2020. But that is the new Sean David Hutchinson book, and it's called The Past and Other Things That Should Stay Buried. Now this book was marketed to me as My Girl meets zombies or something like that, but like contemporary. Like it's not like fantasy, it's not paranormal, it's kind of like the way that he writes, the way that Sean David Hutchinson writes, with like We Are the Ants and stuff, where it's kind of like speculative fiction, and it's kind of blurring the lines of like whether or not this is like real or if it's supposed to be a metaphor for something. I really like his writing style, I really like his stories, I really like the messages within his stories, so, and the themes and stuff. So I am hoping to, also My Girl is one of my favorite movies of all time, so I thought this would be a good one. I'm still waiting for a paperback copy though, because I'm not paying full price for a hardcover. Question number 7, what is a genre you used to read a lot of that you don't read as much of anymore? I remember reading a lot of like dystopian, because that was kind of the hype back when I was in high school. I used to also read like post-apocalyptic, but I mostly read a lot of paranormal, like not just paranormal romance, but like urban fantasy stuff. I read a lot of like vampire books and witches and werewolves and fairies and stuff. I used to read a lot of those. I also just used to read a lot more horror, I think, like a lot more like spookier books when I was younger. I don't read so much of that anymore. What is a new genre you've discovered since 2009? Romance, basically. I used to never want to touch the romance section in the bookstores because 1, I was embarrassed, and 2, I just thought that they were all just gonna be erotica or just smut. And most of the time that's still true, but I think there's a lot of great romances out there, and I think you have to kind of dig a little deeper to find the hidden gems. 9, what is a reading or book habit you are hoping to leave behind in this decade? Buying books in general. Not completely, obviously. I think I've done a pretty good job in minimizing my book collection in the past couple of years, but that's mostly from getting rid of a bunch of books. I think when it comes to the buying books, spending the money to buy the books aspect, I still need to work on, because I tell myself, oh yeah, but it's fine because I'm keeping, you know, a minimum amount of like books in my collection, but that's mostly from getting rid of books every couple of months. I'm still spending the money to buy books all the time, and that's what I want to work on. I want to work on like minimizing my book buying and just kind of like borrowing books from the library or getting books online. Like I need to work on not needing a physical collection in my room kind of thing, because what ends up happening is I would buy something out of impulse, and then in a couple of months I'm like, oh, I didn't really like that book all that much, like it's not my favorite, so then I get rid of it. And that's how I tell myself that it's okay. But it's not okay, because I still spent the money on that, and I didn't need to if I was gonna get rid of it within a couple of months anyway. So that's what I want to work on. And the last question is, what is a new reading goal or habit you want to create in the upcoming decade? I don't really have like a reading goal. I don't really have a reading challenge for myself. I think whenever I do that with anything, whenever I give myself that mindset, I will feel the pressure and I will not want to do it at all. So no goals for me, just fun. Anyway, that is all from me today. As I said, I will leave the original creator down in the description bar below. I will also leave some names of people that I tagged down in the description bar below as well. If you have answers that you want to discuss with me with any of these questions, please leave them in the comments. I love to read them. And I hope you're having a great day, and you will see me in another video soon.